We're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic today, live service games. Now you might be asking, what is a live service game? What makes a game live service? I'm going to explain it to you right now. There's 4 components I've put on this list that makes games live services. Number 1, the game has to have some sort of online component. Even if the game doesn't have online play at all, it still is used to be connected to the internet to play it. A good example is Honkai Star Rail. Completely single player game, you never can play with friends, but in this game, you have to be online. If you try to play it offline, the game just will not work. It needs to connect to a server. Number 2, the game receives updates often, and it's constantly changing. What I mean by that is, let's look at Overwatch for example. That game constantly is getting updates, they're adding new characters, they're doing buffs and nerfs, changing it, adding little events. All of that stuff going on is definitely helping towards the live service aspect of that game, even though the game's ass, but either way. Number 3, the game has a grindy progression system. A good example of this is almost every game having a battle pass. Some games are less grindy with their battle pass, but that's usually not the only progression system. If it is, that's terrible. But you can use something like Destiny. It doesn't even have to be a battle pass. Any game where it's like a looter shooter, you constantly having to do the same raid with a low chance of dropping something, technically that's a form of progression, so that can count as well. And the last thing is that they're usually free to play. So if it's a game that you didn't pay for, or some of them you do have to pay for, like Marvel's Avengers was a live service, if you know about that game.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about? What the fuck was that?
But usually they're free to play, and they monetize people in other ways, so there's no barrier to entry to get in and try the game, but they'll make money off of battle passes, cosmetics, all of that stuff. Now, what is the problem with these, you might ask? The big problem with live service games is there's no feeling of anything being permanent in their games. That's the biggest issue with live services. At the drop of a hat, something could change and ruin your experience of the game. Let me give you an example. Let's use Overwatch 1. One of the least greediest ones. The maps were free, the characters were free, all of that stuff. The only thing you have to buy is loot boxes, and even then you can earn them at a good rate. I never felt the need to have to buy any loot boxes in Overwatch 1. But let me give you a story. This story didn't happen to me, it happened to my cousin. He saw me playing Overwatch one day and wanted to try it. He fell in love with 2 characters only. He didn't care about nobody else. He loves Pharah, he loves Symmetra. And as a Symmetra man, if you do not know, Symmetra has been reworked like 4 or 5 different times. And he is so upset because he loved the lock-on beam Symmetra, and he was okay with her second thing with the photon barrier that moved or whatever. The thing about this is he completely dropped the game eventually because Symmetra, like one of his 2 characters was taken away, and he got bored with Pharah eventually, so he's like, I can't play this game because he only liked 2 characters and one's gone, so, and the other one's born to him now, so he's just it's kind of dead to him. I was like, could you imagine? Overwatch, that isn't that bad of a case, but a lot of other live service games do it, because imagine this. This is a big difference between live services and other forms of media. Here's an example. If I buy, let's go say I go buy a movie right now. I'm gonna go buy Scary Movie 2. 10 years from now, if I buy a Scary Movie 2, watch it today, and 10 years from now I watch it again, that movie is gonna be the same movie. But if I buy if I play Overwatch 2 right now, let's say I spend some money on some cosmetics from time to time. 10 years from now, if the game's servers are even up, because that's another problem, games could shut the server off, and then I can't play it anymore. Or, another thing that could happen, if I bought skins for Kiriko, and then Kiriko is a completely different character, then I'm just shit out of luck at that point. For all I know, Kiriko could be a tank next time I come back to the game.
That's quite big.
With a whole different kit. She could have Reinhardt's shield. That's a real thing, that's a real possibility that can happen in these games. You completely change it, and this is affecting people because, like I said, people have already spent money on it, and like I said, other forms of media. When it comes to music, once you buy it, you have to worry about the song changing. If you paid for the license to listen to Not Like Us from Kendrick Lamar, for example, one day, you're not going to come on to your freaking thing to go listen to it. If 5-10 years from now, and the next thing you know, you're listening to Michael Jackson. That's not going to happen. But in gaming, that can happen, especially with a live service game. And another thing, I've only seen this happen once, but they can delete content that you already paid for, which you would think that's kind of robbing people, but they're not going to do anything because you're going to have to, unless people are going to come together and raise a class action lawsuit, nothing's going to happen. This is the thing. Destiny, apparently, you tell me right now, y'all gonna let me know, I'm going off of what my friend told me because it happened to him. Apparently in Destiny, the first expansion or something like that, they completely deleted because the game file size got so big that stuff had to go. Instead of deleting the base game, because obviously you still need the base game for tutorial and all that stuff, they said, screw it, we're gonna delete the first expansion. So anybody that bought that first expansion apparently is just gone out the game. I don't know if it's like a smaller version of it or something, but from what I hear, it's just completely gone. And that is so fucked. Like I said, this doesn't happen in other things. Imagine you go buy a movie, like I said, imagine you go want to watch 300, and right when you're in the middle of watching it, it just cuts off. There's one other problem with live service games too. Live service is the new early access. It doesn't happen to all games, but there's a lot of games that's online only that launch when they clearly weren't ready. One of my favorites, My Hero Ultra Rumble. I used to love that game. That game was glitchy as fuck at launch. There was game-breaking glitches. There were times your teammates would die, and their respawn token you need, aka the banner you need in Apex is equivalent to that, would spawn. You would move to the middle of the map and be under it instantly, so you cannot grab it, and that's the end of that. That person cannot respawn now. That is a game-breaking glitch, but they still have the audacity in these games to sell you shit, and every live service slowly gets worse. Like, for example, I'm talking about My Hero Ultra Rumble. You know, there's gacha games, they exist, they're already live services, people hate them, but, enough people love them, obviously, but there's generally online, they're kind of shit on. But, here's the thing about a live service, or My Hero Ultra Rumble, for example. You have to unlock characters via a gacha. Usually, that's no big deal. It's a fucking huge deal in a competitive online game. So, if you just don't have the character, you are literally you just fucked in some cases. Like, there's some characters that are just way better versions of their previous self, but you can't use them because you don't have them unlocked. And if you don't have them unlocked, hey, fuck you. It is such a crazy thing. But I don't like that you can buy something and then they take it away from you or change it. Like, you can buy a skin, like I said, let's use Overwatch again, for example. Let's use Overwatch again, let's use Rainbow Six, let's use any game you want to substitute in for this. I'm going to stick with Overwatch because it's the one live service I had the most experience with. Let's say I want to buy, let's use any random example. Let's say you want to buy Tracer's graffiti skin. If you wanted to buy that, it's just fine. Go ahead and get it. Now, what if you fall off of Overwatch for a month or two? You come back, and Tracer is now a support, and she shoots people to heal her. She has a heal. Her ult is just a bomb that heals in an AoE. It does a burst heal AoE. All of this stuff. You would feel pissed, and she's slow now. What if she's slow, has no mobility? But hey, she gave her a double jump now. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, this is still the same game, technically. We didn't change the game, so nothing illegal going on. It's your character. But you bought those skins because you wanted to play Tracer. Now Tracer isn't even her. It's the same character in name, but outside that, that's not the same character. And that's why I don't fuck with that issue. Like I said, I want things to be permanent. When I spend my money on something in the game, I want it to stay the same. It doesn't, like, I understand updates in terms of, okay, let's fix some bugs. Let's fix some glitches. I get that stuff. You want to add new characters? Fine, not mad at that. But when you want to remove characters for glitches and stuff, I'm like, this shouldn't be a fucking problem. Like, early on in Overwatch 2, they had to remove Mei and Bastion because of a glitch. And I'm like, so you're going to remove a character. Imagine you just bought skins for Mei, and then they remove her from the game for however long. She was gone for like a week or two, I think. So imagine for 2 weeks you just can't use that. By the time you might not even be interested in the game no more. It is ridiculous. And like I said, in a movie, you don't have to worry about none of this. You have to worry about the movie just randomly glitching out unless your disc is fucked. You don't have to worry about the movie glitching out. You don't have to worry about the movie being incomplete in any way, and like we're gonna release the rest of the movie later. You don't gotta worry about the movie having DLC. The movie doesn't want you to buy parts of it, so it's like, okay, you will see 300, right? They look cool. You wanna see the whole Persian army dressed up as, mafia members, mafiosos? Just pay us, $10-15, and we can make that happen for you. I don't see movies do that. Now they're trying to monetize movies with gaming at the same time with that Silent Hill shit. But I'm not even gonna go in any further. I just want to rant about this. I feel like my points are relatively good, but let me know what y'all think. I ain't got nothing else to say. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. But that's True Kingston, and I'm out.